statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Heat fans, the fast break is on. It's our Baptist Health of South Florida Heat Report with insider Anthony Chiang. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net. Here's Anthony Chiang.
There he is. Yes, sir. He's ready. He's answering all of your Cameron Payne questions.
Sure.
Bring us the pain. Bring us the pain. How you doing, man? You doing all right?
I'm doing good. How are you, Big O?
Good, because the Wood ended up signing over in Los Angeles.
LA. Yeah.
Heat fans want to pick up everyone that's available, even though the roster is completely loaded, and they've got to kind of like trade a bunch of people to open up more spaces. But, we've got Cameron Payne now available and Kelly Oubre.
Sure, yeah.
Hey, listen, bro, what the hell is going on with this? Speed up the trade so we can add more people to the roster. What's going on here, Anthony? Come on.
People love the transaction more than the action. It's just incredible. Like, they can never get enough, And it's like it's you just said it, right? Speed up the trade, because that's the Heat in a holding pattern. How can they add Cameron Payne when they could be with Kyle Lowry and Damian Lillard on the roster in a week? What is Cameron Payne going to be doing? What is Kyle Lowry going to be doing? So you just can't really act on it until you have some type of clarity on the roster and what's going to happen. You could say, well, if we get Damian Lillard, then we are interested in you, right? You could make plans like that, back channel. That happens in every league, right? But right now they can't move forward and sign Cameron Payne, not knowing what the point guard situation is going to look like in a day, in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. We just don't know what the roster's going to look like. So until we get Damian Lillard, for him too, right?
He and his agent can't just sit there and say, well, let's wait for Joe Cronin to finally make the trade with you guys, and then we could go. They have to do what's best for them. And I'm hearing what I think I read where the Clippers people were talking about, and what was the other team that was mentioned for Cameron Payne besides the Clippers? Denver.
Okay, that makes sense.
Brown.
That makes sense. Yeah. No, he's a good player. He's a good player. Very good backup. Could score. Has experience on a winning team. Right, played with Phoenix for a few years. So he's a good option. It's just that you don't have the luxury to sign him right now because you don't know what the roster look like. Yes, I guess they could move forward. They could cut one of these Exhibit 10 guys and open a roster spot for him. But then you run the risk of having 3 point guards that probably deserve playing time. And what do you do then? So we'll see.
Yeah, and it'd be kind of arrogant by signing him because you're already like saying, yeah, let's sign him so we can plan ahead for this trade. And so it's just kind of rubbing in the whole situation. And
we've watched how the Heat have operated for the past 2 months. They've basically just waited. They've been waiting for Damian Lillard. It's obvious by now. Almost every year they have their roster. And yes, they have 21 players. Their roster's maxed out, but standard contracts only have 13. They have to add one more standard contract, whether that's adding a new player, promoting one of the guys in an Exhibit 10 or a two-way to a standard contract. They have to add one more standard deal. Usually by now they have those at least 14 standard deals in the roster. They don't right now because there is an unresolved issue looming over the team.
Yeah, and Sham Sharani, I think, reported that Damian Lillard may not be reporting to camp, and that even if he's traded somewhere, he won't report to their camp either. And I forgot what team he used as a Toronto, I think
Toronto.
Example. That example, if he's traded to Toronto, he won't report to that camp either. So I'm just wondering, okay, this is going, and Shams doesn't throw stuff out if he doesn't have it directly from the source.
Yeah.
So clearly he has the source telling him that, even though they're not supposed to be saying anything like that. But it's just one of those deals. So what did you think of that report?
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because later that day, it was close to midnight. I remember was going to sleep, and I see on Twitter Aaron Fentress from the Oregonian post a story saying that Damian Lillard would in fact report to camp if he's traded to another team. He would still want to be traded to the Heat eventually. He'd still be trying to find his way back way to the Heat somehow, but he would report to camp and practice. And that to me is kind of like
That doesn't make any sense.
Lillard's camp saying we don't want to get fined. That's not true. We're going to refute Sham's report, right? I mean, the NBA issued a basically threatened Damian Lillard and his camp saying you can't be putting that stuff out there. So when Shams reported that, I'm sure, that's not. I'm sure Damian Lillard's side does not want that out there. If that's true, we'll see. We don't know. We won't know until we get to that day if he's traded to another team. I don't think it's going to happen, but if he is, I guess we'll find out if Shams' report is true. But we had kind of contradictory reports yesterday where Shams reported he wouldn't report to or report a training camp for another team, and then Aaron Fentress, who covers the Blazers for the Oregonian, reported that that's actually not true. He would report to camp and participate in practices and all that. I think the bottom line is Big O is he wants to go to the Heat, and that hasn't changed. So that is the most important thing, because if he doesn't soften his stance, I just can't imagine. And we've talked about this many times already, but I can't imagine a team putting together the package that's going to be required to get Damian Lillard, get that contract. The guy was 33 years old, who doesn't want to be there, right? So I still think as long as he doesn't soften his stance and he stays adamant about wanting to go to the Heat is ahead right now. They have all the leverage, I think, in this situation.
Sounds to me like Fentress might be talking to the team, because it sounds to me like Shams got it from the agent. Now, neither one's going to admit what, but the Fentress one does not make sense. I don't know the guy from Adams, so whatever, know. But I'm it's America. I can agree and disagree with things, and I kind of disagree with that report overall. I'm going to believe the Shams one a little bit more, because that's the one that kind of makes sense, because it kind of goes with everything else.
Right.
The way that the genius part of the way the agent, because I think this agent is going to end up getting more players, the way he's handled this, nobody has stepped up. The other 28 teams in the league, no one has made any noise whatsoever, because they basically know there's only one place he's going, and that's Miami. And so to me, that part has been masterfully kind of set up, and that's why I kind of have a hard time believing the Fentress story, because this one goes more along the lines with what they've been saying already and kind of sending out there that, hey, man, we're going to Miami and nowhere else. And again, I've said this before, I don't blame him. He gave them 11 years now. Why the hell would he want to let them dictate where he goes, that he ends up in another franchise that doesn't know how to build a winner? And he knows that in Miami, they know how to, that's all they build is winners in Miami.
Yeah.
Every player around the damn league knows which freaking teams know what the hell they're doing. And obviously everybody knows that the Miami Heat know what the hell they're doing. They may not be perfect, but more often than not, they're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. And that's why I have a hard time believing that Fentress story, because that doesn't go along with all the messages that have been sent throughout the offseason.
Yeah. I think, again, we don't know if the situation is going to play out this way, right? We won't, if he doesn't get traded to Toronto or another team, we won't know what the true report, what the accurate report is, because he won't be put in that situation. Right. But if he is put in that situation, if he doesn't report, he's obviously going to be fined, right? A lot of money by the league. And, Damian Lillard's made a lot of money in his career. If he's willing to, to pay the money and to prove a point, maybe he is, maybe he is willing to do that. So I don't know. I have heard in the beginning of the situation that Damian Lillard would be willing to give up checks. He's adamant about going to the Heat. He's willing to give up money. And, it's been 2 months since then. Again, the NBA threatened, Aaron Goodwin and Damian Lillard not to do this, or they would have to, they would see a fine. Right. And apparently they did an interview with the league and they said they would fulfill their obligations if they were traded to another team, which they had to say right at that point. But again, actions speak louder than words. We'll see what happens in a couple weeks.
Yeah. By the way, on the Cameron Payne and Kelly Oubre spot, they are kind of backups. So those guys aren't really going to be offered starting jobs. So I wonder, I don't know if you've inquired with any of their agents, are they looking for the best situation or are they looking for the most playing time?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of both, right?
If you're looking for the best situation,
yeah.
then they might be patiently waiting for Miami. But if they're looking for playing time and they're looking to go to any team that maybe needs more of their playing time, then I can understand that they're going to go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
I just think
what they're looking for, those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't inquired yet, Big O, but I would have to think it's at this point, this late stage, of free agency, especially with Cameron Payne asking out of San Antonio, right? If you want to play time, he could have stayed in San Antonio.
Good point.
He wants to win. It seems like, and I would think Kelly Oubre too. Kelly Oubre's been in Charlotte, not a great organization. Obviously, haven't had much success.
No, you nailed it. You nailed it. It's this late.
Yeah,
you're not worried about playing time at the beginning of free agency. You can kind of set yourself up for that, but at this point, you're right. It's all about situation at this point.
And I will say this: I mean, Kelly Oubre, could he start with the Heat? I mean, maybe he could as a wing position. I mean, it's Jay Rich, him, Caleb. Like one of them probably has to start, right?
But is Jay Rich brings more defense?
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed. Jay Rich could start for sure, but I'm just saying it's not out of the wrong possibility. Cameron Payne, if you trade for Damian Lillard, Cameron Payne is not starting, but Kelly Oubre has more of a chance than Cameron Payne, I would say.
Cameron Payne, I think, becomes a better player here. To be quite honest,
they probably both do, considering the Heat's
everybody becomes a better player here. But I'm saying, I think Cameron Payne could use this structure for his game. I think his game would end up improving. What'd you think of old man LeBron wanting to play for the U.S. team and recruiting others?
It's interesting. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like last hoorah at the Olympics, Team USA. He's already won a gold medal. Has he won two? I think he's won one, right? One gold medal.
I think he won two.
Won two. Okay, so two. We got a third gold medal. I mean, if the Team USA has their A team, they're gonna win, very likely, right? So, I mean, it'd be a good story for him. It could be a good accomplishment late in his career. So it makes sense, especially if he's recruiting all those guys with him. It's gonna make it easy for him.
Listen, the league has completely dropped the ball in the regular season over the years, and we got to thank, obviously, Pops for this crap. Resting players and load management and all of that. And it got completely out of control to the point where stars are resting and they're taking off a fifth or a quarter of the season almost. And you got people going to games and they're expecting to see the stars and they're paying all this money and nothing. And so now the NBA came out with some new rules and fines for all of that. Your thoughts on the new rules?
Yeah, I think it still has to be approved, but it seems like it will be. I don't know. I get what the NBA is trying to do, and I agree with you. It's not great in the regular season where two stars are sitting in a game and fans are going to see those guys play, and they find out 30 minutes before tip-off that those guys aren't playing. That's not great for the league. But there's still loopholes to every rule, right? So now you can't sit two stars in the same game, but what if one of them is sick? What if you say one of them has a sore ankle? What if you say one of them has a sore hip? There's this loopholes to, you don't have to say rest for both. You could say something else. You could say he has a head cold. He has a stomach illness. So I still think the teams are going to find a way to do it. Yes, I guess it'll help somewhat, but I still think there's ways where teams will get by even this rule to sit a guy if they want to sit a guy.
Yeah, I get it, because in the end, it's kind of like what they do in the NFL. What they do in the NFL now, when they're holding in, and then they could just say, oh no, hey, my hamstring hurts, I can't practice right now.
Right.
You're still in the middle of contract negotiations, but he doesn't want to be fined because then, like Chris Jones, he held out for a bit from Kansas City. He actually could have come in and held in
Yeah.
instead. You know what I mean? Not get fined. You know, that kind of stuff. So it's interesting that you can. They're going to be able to play around with that.
Yeah.
But it's a problem for the league, dude.
It is. And the thing is, the problem is the guys are always dealing with something, right? So you can always come, even if he could play and you want to rest him, you could find, Jimmy has been dealing with an ankle for the past 2 weeks, been playing with it, right? His sore ankle. The league can't argue that. If he's going to be out because of a sore ankle that he's been playing on,
right.
You can't argue that. So again, I get what the league is doing. I appreciate what the league is doing, but I honestly don't know how you stop it because I think there are just so many loopholes that teams can go, get by. And teams, they want to. We've seen it, right? Look at the Heat last year. They were the 8th seed, I guess the 7th seed technically, but 8th seed after the play-in. They didn't have a great regular season. They rested some guys. They were cautious. Sometimes with Jimmy, he missed a lot of games. They got to the finals, so it's proven that why put your guys through the ringer in the regular season when if they're fresh and healthy in the playoffs, that's really what matters. So why wouldn't a team do that at this point?
Yeah, no, it's bad because the regular
but I get it. Yeah,
less and less every year, and
yeah,
it's not a good look. But this conversation has made me realize I hate 3 people in sports.
Who?
First of all, I hate Greg Popovich with his stinking load management that he's polluted the damn league. I hate Vlade Divac because he brought in flopping. He is patient zero with flopping. Okay. All right. And I hate Tony La Russa because he fractionalized pitching by bringing out 800 relievers to end the game. These are 3 people that have changed sports for different ways. And I hate them, Anthony.
I get that. I understand. But I just can't argue. If it works, it works, right? If you're the Heat, why are you going to put Jimmy Butler to play 75 plus games when that's not the best thing for him? The best thing for him is to play 60 games, and he's good to go in the playoffs. I'd rather have a fresh Jimmy than Jimmy play on a Tuesday night on a back-to-back in the regular season.
5% of the salary now, then.
Well, that's another conversation. That's another conversation.
You're now negotiating a contract for 60 games, not for 82 anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, bro, we're not negotiating a contract for 82 games now. We're paying you for 60 games, not 82. So it's
they would never do.
Jimmy, he's a money player, so
yes. He's going to be this would never happen because of the money involved. But the real conversation is, should the league shorten the regular season? Is it too long? Right? I mean, I think that's kind of what teams are telling us. Like, it's just too long of a regular season. There's too many back-to-backs. The schedule is a grind. I mean, you're seeing 4 or 5 games in a week, going to 4 different cities. It's a lot, And I know they obviously get paid a ton of money, but
Jordan did it with gambling and McDonald's, and he still beat everybody's ass in 45 points.
But I'm just saying, if it's gotten to this point, do you shorten the regular season?
Chartered planes. I just have a hard time having sympathy for them. They've got masseuses, maybe not as many as Deshaun Watson, but they've got masseuses. They've got great food. They've got great training.
Yeah.
I just, come on.
As somebody who travels pretty much the same
sports, the athlete 30, 40, 50 years ago, that dude had it rough. Okay, compared to what these guys have it nowadays.
As somebody who travels pretty much the same schedule as the team, but on commercial flights, it's not easy. They have a little bit better than us.
Yeah, they're way better because you're on a commercial flight where somebody could shit the entire plane. That's not going to happen on their flights.
No, and I don't have nice 3-course meals on my flight either.
No, exactly. They're not eating steak and lobster and your legs are all stretched out,
Sure.
and you're no, that's
I have a bag of pretzels though. I have a bag of pretzels.
Have you been? By the way, have they ever allowed you guys on the Heat plane just to check it out at least?
No, at least not since I've been on the beach. In 2016, I joined,
Well,
and
we gotta talk to Tim Donovan, bro. Like
I heard back in the day, reporters used to be on the plane, which I don't know. I mean, I think that was even before Pat Riley, but
oh God,
yeah,
that was so long.
yeah,
Yeah, but you know what? We got to talk to the Heat organization because one day a year they should take the media up on the plane for a ride for the hell of it. Just I don't know,
I'm good
fly
with
to
it.
New York and have some dinner and then fly back and everybody gets to experience the Heat plane and that kind of stuff. And you have, Riley holds a press conference there. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
They can actually zoom it for the ones that can't be there, but you guys, the hardcore ones, are there, on the plane. Just one trip a year to kind of experience it. I
The
think you
first
guys
question, the first question Ira and I would have if they offer that to us is, how's the Wi-Fi in the plane? Because we need really good Wi-Fi in planes, because
do
that's
you
where we
think
do a lot of our work.
that plane has good Wi-Fi?
I don't know. I've heard some stories. It could be a little spotty, but yes, it's probably comparable to the Wi-Fi we use on when I
I'm
fly
pretty
American
sure
or Ira
yes.
flies Delta.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got some
Yeah,
Tesla-like internet on that plane. He's got Starlink, right? Isn't it Starlink? I think the
I'm
Tesla
not
stuff.
sure. Yeah,
I think it's Starlink. So he's got Starlink on that plane. You'll be
if the
fine.
Wi-Fi is good, we'll be there. We'll be there.
You'll be fine. All right, what do you got going on in the Herald so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, we're just watching Damian Lillard. Really, I mean, at this point, that's kind of the unresolved. That's the one unresolved storyline around this team at this point. So it's kind of a day by day thing. As we get closer, I'm taking my computer with me everywhere I go, starting like this weekend, because you just never know when it's going to happen. One party, could wake up one day and say, want to get a deal done, and it happens. So that's pretty much where we are right now.
That's
and
funny.
I'll have
So
a few.
everywhere with your laptop.
I actually went to watch a Dolphin game.
Movies and the kids, and you've got your laptop
Yeah.
just in case.
I actually went to watch the Dolphin game with a friend at a brewery, and I brought my laptop with me. That's just the job. That's the job. I'd rather have the peace of mind knowing that I have my computer with me than knowing, oh my God, I don't have it with me. I have to go home, be home in 30 minutes. I'm going to be behind. So I take it everywhere I go these days.
And Ira's got a 30-minute jump on you right now. Yeah, exactly. No, that can't happen.
Yeah.
That can't happen. Tim Reynolds got a half-hour jump on your ass.
We're maniacs. That's just the life we live, as you know.
Yeah, and if you're not a maniac, you won't have that job.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang. Anthony, as always, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you immensely. We will catch up later on in the week.
Thanks, Bigo. Have a good day.
The Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Heat Report with Anthony Chiang is brought to you by Baptist Health of South Florida. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.